Oh, what's up? You're streaming this, aren't you? I don't see it. There it is. Okay. All right, folks, welcome to the FOMC Minutes Trade Room. 10-minute trades. My name is Lee Goldstein, Trading Director at 10-minute trades. Please remember all trades we discuss for educational purposes. It is possible to lose money trading futures, so trade carefully, please. And let's get started. So I'm sure if you read the daily report on this particular trade, it's got a few issues. Let's take a look at the daily report and see what I'm talking about. Okay. I had every intention of coming here and trading this report. And then I took a look at the report. Look at this. It's a mess. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked with gold since last year. So, I mean, I'm not going to laugh, but I've also tested the NQ setup that's down here, okay? And it's just not working very well. Not certainly, you cannot use a bracket of 8. It's got to be a bracket of 12. So just keep that in mind. I mean, I'll show you the testing. So the problem, look, it's not complicated. If we have a report that's not good, we don't trade it. That's family money trades. If you know what the deal is, you know how we're doing things. I don't have to beat a dead horse with this approach. The approach is simple. If a report's making money, we're going to trade it. If a report looks like this, let someone else's family trade it, not ours, right? We don't need our family trading that. Why would you want to? Stop, cancel, stop, loss. It hasn't won since November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. It's 8 months ago. 8 months ago. Okay? Am I going to trade this with gold today? No. Not a chance. Not interested. I shouldn't have had the trade room. But I'd rather, maybe we can find out if the new setup works with a slight tweak. I would make a slight tweak to it. And I'll show you what I would do. First of all, let me show you why we're not using gold on this report. That's number one. We don't just make this stuff up. We take it seriously. We do the homework so you can listen to what we recommend and make an intelligent decision. That's why we do the homework. We do the research. Now, look, we're not 100% perfect. Sometimes we get it wrong. Sometimes I'll say don't trade something when it's okay to trade it, okay? But more often than not, I'm going to keep you on the safe side of a trade. Because I'm not willing to give up my family money. I'm not. My daughter will kill me. She'll absolutely kill me. So last Fed minutes, not the statement, but the minutes. Do I even have that video? It was a loss. I may not have saved the video. I've got the month before. Let me see. Oh, good. I have it. I just mislabeled it. Give me a second. Let me label it properly. This was the Fed minutes in May. It was May 19th. And we traded it live. Okay. So we took the hit. Here's the setup. It filled me and then it pulled back. I tried to move my stop to safety. I tried to move my target. I tried everything. I tried to do everything to prevent losing money, and I could not save that trade. There was no saving that trade. Now, the only good thing I would say is I only lost a couple of dollars on the trade. I did not take a full stop out because it appeared to not start to work immediately. And I moved my targets and my stop to make my risk as little as possible, because usually it's a fairly quick event. See how it filled and then it completely reversed? And I tried to move my stop immediately. I didn't get that opportunity. And here's what's interesting. Here's what's saved. Here's what's kind of crazy. If you look at what actually happened, it hits the first target. Now, it hits the first target. Let me check something. Because the first target's only 5 ticks, but it moves so fast out of profitability that you had no opportunity to get out of that trade with money. That was the problem. Hits the target, so that's only $50 because we were just trading one contract, 2 contracts total. So you made $50, but it reverses so quickly, you don't get the opportunity to go back into profit. And sometimes that happens, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's nobody's fault. Now, sometimes if you use the stop move, automated stop move, that might save you. It could save you. So let's watch that video one more time so you can see clearly what happens. It hits the target right there. It goes 6 ticks, it looks like. Hits the target, pulls back so fast that you just can't get out with a profit. Unfortunately, there it hits the target right there. I tried to get the stop to safety, and it was so herky-jerky, I just did not really get the opportunity to do it. I tried, and then it just whips up and stops me out. So $45 loss, but it has not been a good trade. I mean, let's look at the month before. So the month before that was April 7th. April 7th, we were trading gold. And it's not a fast fill. It takes its time filling. "15 seconds. Let's look and see what the cancel is on this trade. 20 seconds, no fill. 40-second cancel. 40-second cancel. 35. So this was a cancel. No trade. No trade. You got to cancel. All right. No move. No move. Then in February, let's see if I've got the video in February. February is a stopperoonie. But look how kind of crummy it was prior to the previous. The February daily market mover was a coin toss, okay? Coin toss. So this has a trade. This is a trade with a history of mediocrity at best. At best. You don't need to trade mediocrity, right? Let somebody else do it. We don't have to do it. So here's what mediocrity looks like. The trade comes out at 2 o'clock. You got a bracket. It fills fast. Fills real quick. I don't like the way it filled and didn't go any further. So I was thinking about shutting down the trade with a smaller loss than a full stop out. I'm thinking to myself, hey, maybe it'll go my way. How many times do you act like a deer in the headlights when you know you're getting stopped? Bingo, full stop. Okay? This is a trade that with gold, there's no point in trading it. None. None whatsoever. Unless you don't like money. If you don't like money, then you might want to trade this trade. Right? Do you not like money? I like money. I want money in my account. I don't want the market taking the money from my account. Let's look at January. I mean, let's be honest. Trading is not easy. Even with family money trades, there's trades that don't work. You want to trade the good ones, so you put the odds in your direction. So here's another lousy fill. It fills right to the tick and then changes direction. And you can tell it's going to stop you out. You just can feel it. You can feel it. So I combined the orders. It almost looked like it was going to behave. It goes to the entry for a second. And then I just tried to get out of the trade. And I got out of the trade with less of a loss than a full stop. Now, if the history of a trade, absolutely, that's the point. Dutchy, that's the point. Trade it for training. That is the idea, so that you're ready to trade the reports that are good. So I'm going to show you how to set it up using the report, but I'm going to make a change and I'll tell you why. So I did some testing, all right? I did some testing, and my testing is on the FOMC minutes with the NQ setup at the bottom of the report. A bracket trade on the NQ might be a suitable alternative. Bracket 8, activate at 59, 40-second cancel, targets of 15 and 30, stop of 15. being the trade room moderator, having traded hundreds of trades over the past years, I use that as a guide, but my testing tells me that that bracket is too small. And my testing shows me that if I use that bracket, it's not going to work. So I tested with that bracket. I tested with a bigger bracket, and the trade worked. When I used the smaller bracket, it stopped me out. Also, you don't want to take a trade, especially FOMC minutes, with a first target of 15 ticks. It's too big. It's too big. This is not a big moving trade usually. You saw it barely moved on gold. By the way, I'm watching bonds on the other side. Now, let's say you put a wrong contract in and you get a chart that looks like that. That tells you your contract is wrong. I wanted to see if there was any volume on ZB1221. That's what it gave me. That clearly is not a tradable contract. So I'll drop down one to ZB921. That is a tradable looking contract. Okay. Now ZB6 is not trading. So ZB921 is the current contract. Okay. I want to look at bonds. However, so here's the setup I would use for this trade based on my knowledge of the way the NQ tested and the current markets. Okay. So bracket trade on the NQ, click strategies, double click the name of the software. So it shows up under configured. I'm going a little slow because we have a lot of new people. Skip down to bracket, and I'm going to make the bracket 12. My bracket is 12. My target is going to be 7, 15, and 30. I want a target of 7. So I'm going to use 3 positions. So make sure each position has a 1 in it. 1, 1, and 1. I'm going to go target 1, 7 ticks. Target 2, 15 ticks. Target 3, 30 ticks. I'm adding a smaller target because I want the opportunity to get filled and be able to move my stop to a safe place. Okay? Maybe I'll only make $35, but it's been a difficult trade. We're testing it. It hasn't been making money. I want to see if there's any hope that the NQ bracket is good. But based on what I know about trading an NQ bracket trade in these markets, and based on my back testing, I want smaller targets, first target, and I want a bigger bracket. And that bigger bracket and a smaller target, they kind of make each other sensible. I'm shrinking my target. I'm increasing my bracket. That makes logical sense. Okay? So once again, a bracket of 12, skip down to strategy internal, and position 1 is 1, Position 2 is 1. Position 3 is 1. 3 contracts. If this was a good behaving report and it was making money, I would trade maybe 3 contracts on position 1, because that would be 20 ticks of profit if it just hits the first target. My stop is 15. And the entry time 13:59:59. And then I'm going to label it NQ FOMC minutes. Apply it and okay it. And I now have a test trade for the FOMC minutes using the NQ. Now, on the other side, I'd like to watch bonds. I just don't think that gold makes any sense anymore on this report. It hasn't been working at all. Okay? Let's check our time sync by going to the website time.is. And my time is exact. If your computer is right now, Dutchy, set to 1052, then it would be 1059. What a lot of people do on their trading computers to avoid confusion is they set their trading computer to Eastern time, believe it or not, and you don't have to think about the time. I'm tempted to set up the gold trade. We can look at bonds. I mean, I don't think bonds are going to move very much on this report. But you know what? Let's watch bonds. Gold's been so bad for so long. If I was going to set up a bond trade on this report, I would set up a bracket of 3. I would sort of do it like a bond trade with a target of 2, a target of 6, a stop of 4, and an entry time of 1400, 2 o'clock on the dot. That's my bond test. No, I never tested bonds on this report. ZB FOMC minutes. I don't think bonds move very much on this trade. I take it back. I've looked at bonds on this report, but I have not done much testing. So I have a quick little bond trade on the right, a bond setup. And then we can look at gold. After. Now the NQ moves a lot more than other indexes, just in general. It's a very volatile index, and it's very choppy to trade. It's a hard index to trade news on. There's a couple of reports that we use it, and it works pretty good. It works pretty good on US CPI. We've been trading it for quite a few months, and it's been working well. I think US CPI will be next week. Has not been a family money trade, but I'm going to make it a family money trade. But what I don't want to do is get risky on the family money trades. I don't want to make coin toss trades family money trades, okay? I'm not going to make coin tosses family money trades. So we got about 4 minutes, 3 minutes or so. See, I think the NQ will move on this report. The question is, does it move in testing? It did not move reliably all the time. Sometimes it would have a good move, other times it would have a very choppy up and down move. It was not consistent. Now it's more consistent on FOMC statement. We trade the NQ on the FOMC statement. And you can see that's volatility before the news. Minutes are tricky also in the sense that it's not data news, it's a report. I'll tell you what the settings are. It's a bracket of 3. Let me see if I can do it real quick. So strategy on bonds. I'm doing a bracket of 3, 1 position for 2, 1 position for a profit of 6, a stop of 4, and an entry of 1400, 2 o'clock on the dot, 1400 on the dot. I don't think bonds will fill. The bracket was 3. I don't think the bonds will fill. I would love to trade bonds on this report. But I don't think FOMC minutes is, look at the NQ. It's risky. That tells you you're in a high risk scenario right now. That's a potential reason to cancel the trade. It's a large move before the news, and we normally will often cancel a trade when you get a move like that. Now, if you're watching us on YouTube, would you be kind enough to give us a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell? You'll know the next time we're here. A couple of likes would be awesome. So it's going to be a bracket of 12. Bonds, we'll see. All right. Not really going to pay attention much to bonds. I don't really expect bonds to fill. NQ, it's a good chance it will just be a whipsaw and stop you out real quick. Now the NQ hit the first target, okay? Hits the first target. Now if it continues up, but you do not really, look at bonds. Maybe I'm wrong about bonds. We'll keep that going. The NQ hits the first target and did exactly what I said it was going to do. It was going to reverse and stop you out. So we'll watch the video. And look, when you have a big move like that, I mean, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do? You should avoid that trade, honestly. Because now they're analyzing the report. Now a discretionary trader might have a trade. And bonds were not good either. It filled and went the other way. No consistency in the moves. Okay? Now, that's why we don't trade this. Our method doesn't work right. So you don't want to put your money at risk on a trade that gives you no opportunity to profit, right? We did not have any opportunity to profit here. Let's look at the video. See, the move is up on the NQ. It appears. Let's see. See, they're looking at the report, they're reading the info, and the market's making a decision. It's not a 10-second, 15-second, 20-second trade. It's more of a 2, 3, 4-minute trade. It's a different trade. Dutchy would have to test it. I honestly just can't say off the top of my head if a trap trade would be better. You certainly can't tell by one trade. That I can tell you. You can't tell. But look, the market likes the news. It likes the news. Our setup was no good. It doesn't work because it's too soon. Our setup is just too early. It's not the right way to trade this type of a report, in my opinion. It's a slow moving, it's a slower responding report. It took almost 2 minutes for the report to generate a direction. So doing a breakout is not the right approach. It just isn't. It's just not the right approach. Okay. So let's look at the video real quick. Bonds filled as if it was going to actually do something, and then it stopped. It filled and just stopped moving. But being honest, these are the reports we kind of avoid because they're not giving us, they don't fit our DNA, and they don't give us the opportunity to make money, so why trade it? So here's what happened. Watch the NQ first. So our bracket, nothing wrong with our bracket. And in fact, the smaller bracket would have worked better today. It would have hit the second target. So the smaller bracket worked better today. So maybe the NQ has promise. Now, if you were really paying attention just to the NQ, you had time to get out with a tiny profit, $35, okay? But so maybe if you use that small profit today, you might have been able to hit that 15 target. It might have worked. It might have worked. So we have to do more testing on that. The bonds filled, and then they just reversed and stopped you out and just really didn't give you a good trade. Langford, yes, a later entry would have worked, but there's no way to know ever what that entry should be. So that's you know, I agree with you. Yeah, later entry would have worked, but there's no way to know if there's any consistency in that later entry without testing 6 of them with a later entry. And where do you start? A minute after, 2 minutes after? You know what I mean? It's just a trade that for us, it's probably not worth it. However, if you are the kind of person that wants to experiment with that, you could probably find a trade that would work for you. Fred, I agree with you. The NQ response is very typical for a news response. It'll move erratically on the news and then find a direction. So the question is, can you find an entry time to make it work? Right? So there's features in our software that you can use that might help you to find a way to trade reports like that. It's possible. But it does require a lot of work also. A lot of testing. A lot of testing. Fred, do you have a setup for this particular report, or you're just speaking from NQ experience? Because Fred does a lot of his own trading. Okay, so you'll take it from a trend. But even this trend today was not easy. It went up and down. There's moves up and then there's lots of pullbacks today. This was not easy in general. And bonds are just a mess. Bonds not helpful. Bonds aren't helpful at all. So Fred at 102 had a setup that he used to get in discretionary on that move up. But, for us, that's not how we do it. So for us, it's a no trade. Until the report behaves in a way that fits our DNA, it's a no trade. All right, folks. So we will be back at 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock for the oil report. Okay, 4 o'clock for oil. YouTube, thank you for watching. We're going to shut it down. Members will be back at 4. Brian, good, nice going on the second shot. Good for you. And I'll see everybody at 4 o'clock. Okay, you're welcome, Dutchie. See you at 4, everybody.